We should really think about putting this video in the UFO category because what we're about to see is an extremely rare sighting. You guys know, if you're familiar with my channel, we like to talk about fitness, bodybuilding, size and strength, and then fighting and everything in between. And we've spoke a lot about big guys who think they can fight. Well, what I'm about to show you today is an actual really big guy who can actually fight. A very quick reminder, we are on a quest for 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we might just do it. I was a little bit doubtful, but you guys are pulling this off. Once again, I still get a lot of people in the comments say that they've been watching me content, but they're not subscribed. So if you enjoy martial arts, street fighting, fitness, social awareness, self-development, then click subscribe with that notification bell turned on because we upload every single day. Come on. Now, we've all seen it a million times, what happens when bodybuilders try to fight. It never looks good, and I'm not hating it whatsoever. If you're a bodybuilder, then you're a bodybuilder. You're not a fighter, are you? You're not training to be in the ring. So it's kind of like that age-old argument of, oh yeah, you're a bodybuilder, you can bench press 500 pounds, but I bet you can't run a marathon. Of course they can't run a marathon because they're not training to run a marathon. You can also say to the marathon runner, oh, you can run a marathon, but I bet you can't bench press 500 pounds, can you? So I hate that argument. I always have done. Shut the fuck up. So we are not hating here. At the end of the day, if you've got 50, 70 pounds of added muscle on your frame, it's going to be harder to throw a punch because you're just a lot more blocky. Even when you look at the most jacked fighters in the UFC, in MMA in general, often they're never as muscle bound as someone like this. And this example right here is why I actually don't mind sparring bodybuilders. If I see a bodybuilder walk through the door in kickboxing, I'm like, okay, sound, let's go, because they generally have a lot of stiffness to them. Anyway, forget I said that. So this is an example of what you would typically see of a bodybuilder who is just getting into boxing.
Together. Ready? Again. Afterwards. Ready? Speed.
Size of his back. He is jacked. Look at his back. That's crazy. That's actually, I'm going to give the dude credit here. He has got a very well-developed back. I'm putting my bodybuilder hat on for the moment. Them trap insertions are super high up on his neck. Now, if you had someone like this who learned how to punch and done it properly, maybe dropped like a good 10, 20 kilos, they would possess a lot of power. And what you notice with bodybuilders like this is they don't use the hips much. We can see here, he is actually turning his hips. His heel's coming off the floor. He's staying light on his back foot, which is good. But you see how he's almost like punching across his body. And a little bit of a disclaimer for some of my returning haters out there who are absolute jobs worths. You don't have to be a bodybuilder to punch this bad. You can be a skinny little whippet and also punch this bad. It's just usually more typical that you see less coordination and a little bit more stiffness and a little bit more uptightness in bodybuilders than you do with someone who's lean, because the muscle literally gets in the way. If you've got lats that put your arms out here, then you're not going to be able to hold your guard properly. You're going to be like that, punching from there. Your muscles are in the way. We also have another example. Big shout out to Rough and Rowdy Brawl. If you want to watch some entertaining fights, if you're a fan of Rough and Rowdy, comment down below because maybe we could react to some of these fights. They're hilarious. They're like meme fights, just good old entertainment. But this fight also shows the same. We've got this guy who's a bit more of a bodybuilder facing another guy who's actually quite big himself, but this is the more bodybuilder-esque physique right here. Let's see how this one goes down and pay close attention to the technique. Also, something happens in the middle of this fight which we can also talk about.
Holy moly, this is some big boy.
So this guy here is the lumberjack. The other guy is the bodybuilder. Two big fellas.
Oh, bounced off the ropes WWF style.
He bounced off the ropes right into a punch. Blue gloves, the lumberjack is the Oh, he says hit him again. I don't like that. When you throw your best shot, he says hit me again. It ducks and weaves. I do not like that. These are big blows.
Oh, those body shots hurt him.
We got a shoulder.
Right, it wasn't a body shot that hurt him. He dislocated his shoulder. Who else dislocated his shoulder the other day or the other week? How come we're getting people who are big bodybuilders, even someone like Zerker as well, who's been on the gear before, who actually at one point was fairly jacked, and lads like these, but as soon as they box, they dislocate the shoulder? It's because when you're taking steroids, your tendons and ligaments don't progress in strength nearly as much as your muscles do. So there's a huge disparity between the strength of your muscles and the strength of your tendons and ligaments, which usually leads to injury. And for years, you're doing control controlled movements, you know, bench press, bicep curls, everything is controlled, slow contractions. Then all of a sudden you're trying to throw a jab or a big loop and overhand. Those tendons and ligaments just give way and your shoulder pops out. I've done it myself back in the day, dislocated both shoulders. It wasn't until I started strengthening up the internal shoulder musculature and all the tendons and ligaments in the shoulders that I was able to throw a punch again without it dislocating. So Zerka, if you're watching this, let me know. I'll fly out and I'll fix your shoulder. So the guy on the left has popped his shoulder now.
This is going to get a stoppage or a knockout.
Oh, yeah.
It's a horrible pain. If you haven't been there before, it's horrible.
Sad ending to this fight.
He says he's good. He wants to go.
Oh, wow.
He wants to go.
Give him fucking credit. This guy is a
Big uppercut.
beast.
His shoulder's killing him.
Oh!
He tapped. He's tapping on himself.
And he got hit. That's the end of that.
You see all the acne on his back as well. That's from the steroids.
He's still
he
going?
still wants to go.
Still going.
What is
Buddy,
he
you don't
doing?
want this. You don't want this.
Why? Why? Is that it?
I think that's it. Yep.
That's it. Super
That's
Thor brought the thunder.
That's disappointing. We could have had a knockout there.
So you see a lot of the time with bodybuilders, they often punch like this. I'll do a little demonstration for you. I've trained with enough of them to know how they punch. I've seen some bodybuilders on the pads for a good 2-3 years and they still don't improve this. And I think it's just that muscle kind of gets in the way. Comment down below if you remember the Sneeko hip twist. Do you remember that? Rather than doing that, a lot of the time bodybuilders, they'll punch like this. The body won't twist. You'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You don't get that twist. You've got to be light on your feet, almost like a ballerina. Whereas most of these bodybuilders have got knock knees. They're like this. Now, there's countless other examples I can give you of bodybuilders who can't fight. Of course, there's going to be fellas out there who are big fellas, 6'4", jacked, on the trend, who can fight and who can throw really good punches. I'm not talking about yous. I am generalizing here. If you take 1,000 bodybuilders, the vast majority of them are not going to be able to throw a punch. And even with a good amount of coaching for a decent amount of time, they will struggle a little bit more than someone who is not a bodybuilder. Anyway, that being said, let me introduce to you this guy. What's his name? Bryce Acuson. Like the Instagram cam, new little layout. This dude is one of the best moving bodybuilders that I've seen. So let's check him out. We'll have to keep this muted for copyright purposes. But look at these kicks. Spinning back kicks. Very fluid as well. That was a high roundhouse. Light on his toes. As we were saying before, you've almost got to be like a ballerina. Let me try and pause the height of one of these kicks right now. Like, look at this. He's twisting his hips. He's on the ball of his foot. He's pivoting perfectly. Okay, he's not really following through with that kick. He's kind of just tapping it a little bit, but we're not going to be picky here. He's not trying to be a professional fighter as far as I'm aware. This, I know the angle might be a little bit deceiving and it might make the kick seem like it's higher than it is, but that's quite a high kick, to be fair. Here's another video of him. So doing some elbows. Okay, he's got the bands on him as well. Doing some knees. A little bit of a flying knee. You know, jump switch kick. Pretty decent for such a big dude. So here's some more kicks. Hopefully that pad doesn't fall off the post, otherwise you'd be in a lot of trouble there. But look at that. One thing that you notice bodybuilders struggle with, which I've kind of said about 5 times now in the video, is the twisting, the rotation of the hips. Look at this bodybuilder's hips. He's rotating them. What you should do is, as you're trying to kick, so this is your target here, this post, this pad, your hips should pretty much face. They almost do a 180-degree turn from where they are. Not quite 180, but you get me point. They're facing this way, they're facing the right, and then as he kicks, his hips pivot all the way round and they're almost facing the opposite direction. And that's obviously combined with turning his lead foot out, and that allows you to get good proper power and a good rotation in your kick then. So the fact that I'm seeing a bodybuilder do even that is actually very impressive, because you never see bodybuilders do that. They never twist the hips. Now this is pretty impressive as well. He's doing head kicks and he's not touching the floor again. Decent power, jump switch kicks, nice, good flexibility. Do you understand how tight bodybuilders are on the hamstrings? And the fact that this dude's able to do this, pretty decent. Someone said, ain't no way a guy this big should have that much mobility. Someone nerfed this guy. The cushion is only there to protect the metal rod. Number 1 on my list of people I hope to never disagree with. It used to be pretty good for a mass monster, but now you're just legitimately good, period. I also noticed how there's a lot less negativity in the comments too. Looks like the critics finally backed off when they saw that you weren't just casually hitting some pads here and there, but that you're actually serious serious as hell about getting good. That's the thing with a lot of content like this. People are so harsh in the comments and people are very quick to judge. Everyone expects you to be a Muay Thai champion or a boxing world champion. Even the world champions get haters in the comments. I've seen people criticize Conor McGregor, Canelo, Caleb Plant, Tyson Fury, you name them. Pick one of the best fighters in the world. Go on their Instagram, watch some of the training footage. There will always be an empty profile in the comments telling them that they're doing something wrong. Now here's some punching work from him. This is pretty decent as well. Doing some uppercuts, shifting. I don't know, it's a very short snippet, but the guy's moving pretty nice. You know, most people would really struggle just with this little bit of footwork, going from this stance here to that stance. The normal person doesn't understand how much coordination is actually involved in just a little two-step. Someone said, yeah, I don't think people realize how impressive this is at this man's size. Exactly. This is actually very scary. Men that size don't do this. This guy said, I always thought there could be a physique which would be too muscular, where it would be difficult to be fluid and kick, etc. And this guy proves me dead wrong. Now we have to accept this guy is the exception. Once again, as I said, if we're generalizing here, the vast majority, 99% of bodybuilders are never going to be able to move like this. I don't really know this guy's story. I don't know how long he's been training for, but I mean, here we can see him doing proper hamstring stretches, improve that flexibility. I mean, that's pretty decent. He still lacks just a little bit of that hip turnover on those roundhouses, only slightly. If we watch that clip again of him doing the, was it the lead left kick, or was he in southpaw? Yeah, okay, so he's in southpaw. Let me try and pause this perfectly. You see, you can't really see it because of the play button, but he just lacks a little bit more of that hip turnover and just digging into that pad a little bit more. To be honest, this isn't the best bag to be kicking. You can see he's kind of kicking the bottom of it. He needs a bag that's going to go down to the floor, but you can see he just needs to turn over into that kick a little bit more. Here he is on the pads. I haven't seen this video yet. Nice, nice. Ow! Mama said knock you out. Can't play that tune. Right, let's actually look at this. Like, good head movement. And once again, anyone can look fantastic on the pads. But if I was fighting this guy in the next Misfits event, I would actually be a little bit worried. I'd be like, okay, I'm not going up against a bodybuilder who's stiff as a board. I'm going up against someone who has got decent movement, and movement is key. And this guy looks pretty natural when he's doing it. He's got good rolls. He's not doing the cross-body punch where his body's facing this way and he's punching over there. Yeah, I like it. Someone said here, weak punches. You have a strong punch, but you should get rid of those big muscles. You see what I mean? There's always someone in the comments. Only big guys like him will really know how hard it really is to box with that much muscle. All the small guys going to critique his technique and form. I'm a small guy and I'm giving the guy praise. And that's the general message of my channel. If you're good, you're good. If you're bad, you're bad. Everything else in between doesn't really matter. Now, some people might think, yeah, well, Shaun, you always say lift weights and do martial arts, but surely if I lift weights and build muscle, then that's going to slow me down. But now you're saying bodybuilders like this guy can fight and they can be fluid. So what do I do? Do I lift weights and learn a martial art, or should I just learn a martial art? And my friends, the answer is always do both. Lift weights, get stronger, increase your power output, and also do a martial art. As long as you're natural, you won't really build a lot of muscle to the point where you look like this guy, because this guy is on gear, or he has taken steroids in the past. That's why he's that big. He's not natural. You're never going to be that bulky naturally. I mean, look at him. He's an absolute tank. You're never going to be like this. If you just stay natural, stay athletic, try and get as strong as possible whilst doing a martial art, you'll build another 5, 10, 15 kilograms of muscle over the years. And that muscle and strength will complement the martial arts. That being said, if you need help with that and you want to learn everything about training, nutrition, supplementation, and recovery, and you want to pack on your next 10 kilograms of muscle, then check out my Natural Physique Academy down below. There's 12 workouts in there. There's hundreds of meal plans, recipes, over 100 exercise demonstrations, and I'm actually about to revamp the whole system. I'm adding a whole new module in there on how to lift weights, get stronger, increase your power, as well as doing martial arts and have them complement each other. The price will be going up when I add that module, so if you want to get in now before the new version comes out, then join while you can. And if you just need any tips or advice, drop me a DM on Instagram. I'm always happy to help where I can. Okay, boys, what do you think of this topic? Do you know anyone who's really big, jacked bodybuilder and they can't fight and they punch like the first couple examples where they're like that? Or on the flip side, do you know anyone who's a bodybuilder who's really big, who can really throw down with really good technique? Comment down below. I want to hear your stories. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Remember, we're shooting for that 100k goal, so like the video and subscribe with notifications turned on, and I'll see you all tomorrow.